What will be the next Harley Davidson Revolution Max engine motorcycle? Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're all well. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. So, Harley Davidson, are they bringing out a brand new Revolution Max engine motorcycle? What will it be? What engine will be in it? And basically, will it sell? These are questions that we're kind of asking, we're kind of leading into, and we're trying to make educated guesses here. Now, as it stands, there is no news about what is coming from Harley Davidson. But we already know from certain little snippets of information and information that we can extrapolate from bits of information that has come out that there's going to be changes to the Harley Davidson lineup, but also in the Revolution Max lineup as well. We're looking at changes to the Pan America. We're probably looking at changes to the Sportster S and the Nightster because they haven't really been great sellers anyway. And now we're looking at the evolution of the Revolution Max engine in terms of what motorcycles or what chassis that it can be put into. Put yourself into the mindset of a motorcycle manufacturer. Put yourself into the mindset of Harley Davidson. Their purpose is to sell motorcycles. If their motorcycles aren't selling, guess what? They're going to move on. They're not going to put as much effort into that motorcycle, into that model. They're going to move on. They're going to explore different options. So if we look at the Nightster S and the Sportster S, they might be decent motorcycles, but they haven't got that magic ingredient and the price point that people are really enthusiastic about. The only motorcycle with a Revolution Max engine that's really delivered in terms of enthusiasm, in terms of appreciation, whilst it's had teething problems, is the Pan America 1250. And the best one is the S, the one that is off-road capable, the one that's a little bit special. So that's the one they're going to focus on. They're not really going to focus on anything else. So that's why we're kind of thinking, well, are they going to develop the Pan America 1250S? Are they going to do away with a standard version? What about those motorcycles that aren't really selling in great numbers? Should we tweak those a little bit? Now, I've already said, if they put the Sportster S engine into the Nightster frame, then you've got a motorcycle. So this is where there's some indications now that the Sportster S as a model is not really going to be the one that they favor going forward. However, the Nightster chassis, if you will, is going to be the one that they're kind of going to move towards. They're going to tweak that even more. Put a bigger, powerful engine in a Nightster frame, then all of a sudden you've got a motorcycle. You've got a motorcycle that people are really going to have a lot of fun riding, especially for street riding. I'm not talking about touring. I'm not talking about long distance. I'm talking about street riding. So when we're exploring what Harley Davidson can do with the Revolution Max engine, we're going to be taking variants off, let's say, that Nightster frame and then just change it up with different styling, of course, and different engine sizes. So let's just say that we expand the Nightster big engine concept and we bring out something that is more street focused and more performance based. Well, essentially, that's what the Bronx was supposed to be, right? It was supposed to be that kind of bike. When they first talked about the Revolution Max engine with the Pan America and the Bronx, those are the two bikes that we were always going to have. Then they shelved the Bronx and just went with the Pan America. But there's definitely a gap within the Harley Davidson Revolution Max arsenal, if you like, to have a street bike with a performance engine. So this is where the Bronx could make a return, but maybe not in the guise of the Bronx, but as I say, maybe with a Nightster chassis, but with a high performance engine, which would be the 1250 that comes out of the Sportster S. Now, obviously the dimensions and the ergos are going to have to be on point for this, but you can see where I'm going with this. What else can happen here? Well, we can take the big engine, the 1250, and put it in a lighter chassis, a smaller chassis, let's say, one that's more upright riding, more that's street focused. But then we can take a smaller engine, say a 975, and we can just expand the theme, but just with different styles. The bike that most Harley Davidson fans kind of miss is the Sportster. So that's where the Nightster really should take over. And it's not going to be called the Nightster, it'll be called something else. But essentially, it's that chassis with an engine, maybe of different sizes, and they're going to bring out new models. Harley Davidson have been a bit too slow for me in bringing out new motorcycles with the Revolution Max engine. They really should have pumped this out by now. And I think they've got their fingers burnt with the Sportster S, and I think they've definitely got their fingers burnt with the Nightster and the Nightster S. It hasn't been a glorious success, but the Pan America has done quite well. So this is where it is now. So we're going to be seeing a street-focused bike with a high-performance Revolution Max engine. We're going to be seeing a street-focused bike, potentially with a smaller engine, maybe a 975, or maybe comes all the way down to a 750cc. One of my favorite Harley Davidsons, in fact, one of my favorite bikes of all time, was the Harley Davidson XLCR. Loved that bike. And many people have been talking about a cafe racer returning. Now, the interesting thing here is that quite a few motorcycle publications around the world here, and I'll leave a link in the description to a couple of those if I remember, but essentially, some of these publications are kind of reviving the XLCR. They're talking about the cafe racer Harley Davidson a lot more. So what does that mean? There is a bit of a feeling, there's a feeling growing that not necessarily this bike is going to come, but there may be a need for it. There may be a desire to have that kind of motorcycle. The Revolution Max engine is not a touring motorcycle engine. It's not a cruising engine. It doesn't have that vibe to it. It doesn't have that feeling to it. But it's definitely an engine for an adventure bike, as we know, and it's definitely an engine for a street bike as well. Now, you could take that same engine, that 1250, and as I've already intimated before, you put it into a cruiser motorcycle, you could put it into a tourer as well, and I'm sure it would do very well. But it certainly wouldn't have the same vibe as the Softails and the Tourers right now. It will be moving the company in a different direction. But the future is with the Revolution Max engine. The future is not necessarily long-term with the M8s, and definitely not the future with the electric bikes either. It's going to be coming from the Revolution Max engine, or it's going to be coming from new technology that enables these M8s or the air-cooled, oil-cooled engines to run on alternative fuels. That's where the future is kind of heading now for Harley Davidson. But in the meantime, they really need to ramp up the Revolution Max engine bikes. They need to bring out more and more, not necessarily brand new models, 3 or 4 models every year, but certainly they need to start expanding and maybe coming out with some new ideas using the Revolution Max engine that gets people to sit up and notice, get people enthusiastic, get people back into the brand, and also get people back into the brand at a lower price point. Now, I've already talked about Harley Davidson potentially bringing their Indian and their Chinese Harley Davidson smaller motorcycles to other markets, and whether they'd ever come to America or Europe is another question, of course. But these markets are definitely crying out for what the Sportster used to represent, that kind of entry level into the Harley Davidson world. And if you think about it, the 883, which I still think is probably one of the nicest looking motorcycles in terms of overall design and proportions and everything, anything you can look at that 883, well, they put that into another motorcycle designation now, but kind of using that Nightster chassis, but kind of stepping into that 883 or variations of the Sportster as it used to be. That's what people want. That's what people are looking for. So you can have high performance in a lightweight chassis, or you can have lower performance with different styling, different street styling in a lightweight chassis. All of a sudden, this is what people have been crying out for a long time, or certainly been crying out to at least have that option. This is where I see Harley Davidson coming out for 2024 and also 2025, in that they're going to be expanding the Revolution Max engine motorcycles and the variations within that as well. It's the only logical choice going forward. You're not going to put all your effort into the M8 bikes, whether in the Softails or whether in the Tourers, when you've got an untapped resource here in the Revolution Max engine that's actually going to appeal to a wider base. It's going to appeal to the new generation of rider coming through. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What will be the new motorcycle from Harley Davidson? Will it be a new Revolution Max engine bike? Will it be a Bronx style street bike with a high performance engine? Will it be more like a cafe racer, sort of 750cc? Will we see more Revolution Max engines with a 975, with a 1250, with a 750 coming through? Or will we just see the small bikes, the X440, the X500 from China and from India? Will we see those bikes coming through to European and American markets? I doubt that's going to happen. I think there's going to be more movement in the Revolution Max engine, especially in the American and the European market. I think we're going to see a shedding of the Knights as it is now and the Sportster S, and I think they're going to really focus on new bikes with a Revolution Max engine and really getting it dialed in to what people want and what people are prepared to pay for as well. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, don't forget to like and share the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notifications bell for all future videos. And I'll catch you again. Bye now.